Welcome to the final level of our journey, Chapter 7, The Wedding Crashers. After surviving the 7 trials of King Salermo and a high-stakes escape from the Kingdom of Crystals, Don Juan and Maria Blanca have finally reached the borders of Berbania. However, the difficulty is now set to legendary, for the final boss is not a beast or a sorcerer, but a broken memory caused by the Curse of Oblivion. The curse takes hold the moment Don Juan enters the palace and sees Princess Leonora. Instantly, every memory of Maria Blanca is wiped from his mind. Believing this to be his happy ending, Juan accepts a new quest, the royal wedding. Having waited 7 years for her hero to return from the well, Leonora claims her rights, and with his memory glitched by the curse, Juan agrees to marry her immediately. Just moments before the wedding is finalized, a challenger approaches. It is Empress Maria Blanca, appearing not as a grieving victim, but as a high sorceress in God mode. She arrives with the flask of truth and a calculated strategy to reclaim the man who has forgotten his vows. Her status is enraged, and she is prepared to use her white magic to break the curse once and for all. Maria Blanca initiates a cutscene, the reenactment, using 2 magical dolls to perform a play for the royal court. The dolls begin to reenact the impossible labors Juan survived in the Kingdom of Crystals, such as the flattening of the mountain and the retrieval of the king's ring from the deep sea. As the female doll whips the male doll, she scolds him for forgetting his promises. In a display of powerful magic, Don Juan actually feels the physical pain of the whips as if they were hitting him, creating a sensory link between the play and his suppressed memories. This magical feedback loop begins to crack the Curse of Oblivion that King Salermo placed upon him. The reenactment continues with the taming of the horse, the final and most brutal trial. As the male doll describes how Juan tamed the soul of King Salermo, the last barrier in Juan's mind shatters. His memory is fully restored, and he realizes that Maria Blanca is the one who saved his life 7 times and fought by his side as his true companion. Suddenly, a system error occurs within the laws of the kingdom, conflicting marriage contracts. Princess Leonora presents a priority claim, having waited faithfully for 7 years since the events at the well. Maria Blanca presents a merit claim, having saved Juan's life repeatedly and being his intended spouse from the Crystal Kingdom. The conflict requires a persuasion check, and the Archbishop is called to deliver a verdict. Juan speaks from his heart, explaining that while Leonora was a part of his past, Maria Blanca is his true companion, who stood with him through fire and magic. He concludes that first love is not defined by who you met first, but who you loved most deeply. The dice roll for the verdict is a success. The Archbishop rules that Juan's first true commitment was to Maria Blanca, and therefore their marriage is authorized. To ensure a peaceful resolution for all parties, a dual wedding is proposed to satisfy the claims of both princesses. In a surprising turn of justice, Don Pedro is wed to Princess Leonora. Although Pedro was the one who betrayed Juan at the well, this union allows him to remain in Berbania and eventually take the crown, fulfilling his original desire for power, but through a legitimate path sanctioned by the kingdom. Don Juan, however, makes a choice that signifies his growth as a hero. He declines his father's crown in Berbania. He decides to New Game Plus his life by returning to the Reino de los Cristales with Maria Blanca. While Berbania remains the kingdom of men, the kingdom of crystals remains a kingdom of magic under their rule. The endgame results in a dual monarchy. King Pedro and Queen Leonora rule Berbania, while King Juan and Empress Maria rule the Crystal Kingdom. Juan and Maria govern with such kindness and wisdom that their reign becomes a legend of its own, lasting until the end of their lives. This epic journey proves that the story of the Ibong Adarna is not just about a magical bird, it is a game of snakes and ladders played with honor. While characters like Don Pedro relied on envy and King Salermo relied on dark magic, they were ultimately defeated by the intelligence of Maria Blanca and the kindness of Don Juan. As the quest is marked as complete, we see that the Ibong Adarna's song served as the catalyst for the kingdom's healing and the prince's growth. The bird was the bridge between the world of men and the world of wonders, leading Juan to his true destiny. We conclude this presentation of the Philippine epic celebrating a cast of characters, from the helpful hermits and magical monkeys to the giants and serpents, who all played a role in the Paladin run. Thank you for following the legend of the Ibong Adarna.